Good to kick off? Good morning, everyone. My name is Areg. I'm the CEO co-founder of Cardemon. We help businesses to launch products, enter new markets, and stay compliant 10x faster by automating the most manual bits of regulatory compliance. So let me talk a little bit about the problem we're solving in more detail. So essentially keeping up to date with regulations, extracting your obligations, understanding the impact, and then mapping them against your internal policies, controls, and procedures is extremely time consuming. I know this because I faced this firsthand at Revolut, where I spent 4 years and we spend tens of millions of dollars a year to solve this problem. And even there, this process was extremely manual and time consuming. With the ways that it was being done is through a patchwork of spreadsheets, legacy tools, or being outsourced to lawyers and consultants, which would take a long amount of time and also a lot of money. So how do we solve this? We've created AI agents that understand your context, so they know what you offer, how you offer it, what your products are, where you operate, what licenses you have. And based on this, they scan the horizon to extract relevant items to you. They go through hundreds and hundreds of lines of regulations to extract your obligations. And they also conduct gap analyses to compare where you might have any gaps with your controls policies and remediate those for you in minutes, not months. And this can result in speeding up the regulatory compliance process by up to 95%. And this is not just theory. This is actually happening in the production environment. And we're trusted by the biggest global regulated brands who serve over 350 million end users to power their regulatory compliance. You can see some of our featured partners, but there are many more that we can't talk about just yet, but very excited to announce later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you an actual example which we've recreated for one of our customers on how they've saved up to a month of compliance time, and hopefully it won't take much more time than 3 minutes. So I'm going to have to talk quite fast for this one. Okay, great. So our agent has notified us that there's an update on the regulation. This is a Nebraska Act. So we're going to check out what this finding is. And here you can see that we've got the details of it, the summary, how it applies specifically to you. Also the impact and urgency already assessed for you and specifically for your entity. And again, some of the key points and also the affected products, regulations, and areas. So everything is tailored specifically to you. Now, next I want to understand what I need to do. So we actually recommend an action, and unfortunately for us, we have to map the whole regulation. So I'm going to assign this to myself and use Cardemon to perform the mapping in seconds. So as soon as I tap this, it will go through every single line of that act, which is just done. And on the left, you see the original text. And on the right, we start doing the analysis. So we summarize it. We figure out what's applicable, in this case, roughly 89% of the regulation. And then we can start understanding a little bit the rationale as well as to why it's come up with these decisions. So nothing is black box. So I'm going to filter in applicable obligations. And I'm going to check out why this is applicable to us and what the impact is. So you can see the reasoning every time you hover over it and how it's relevant specifically to your entity and why it's an obligation as well. So the next thing I want to understand is how compliant I am. So we've taken this company's policies and controls and mapped it automatically in seconds against the obligations. Anything in gray is a policy or control by this firm. And we go down to the detail of saying the exact statement from the policy that's relevant here. So what happens if there's a gap? Well, anything in blue is generated by us to fill that gap. So we generate the policy statement and the control statement in the language that you've provided to us. I'm going to assign this for Enric to review and assess whether he wants to accept it or not. Okay, so we've got quite a lot of control gaps. So I'm going to check those out and see what the system's generated. So as you can see, there's a bunch of gaps here where there are policies, but maybe not controls. So we've generated control statements that need to be enacted, and I'm going to batch assign these to myself. And you can see that we're not only doing the heavy lifting for you, but we give you the tools to do the last mile compliance and to ensure that this is how you want it to be. So if I assign this to myself, and I'll be able to see this, I'll be notified via Slack, email, Outlook, whatever you guys are using to manage your existing workflows. Now, finally, I want to hone in on a few questions. So I saw that there was something about surety bonds. So I'm going to ask what the updated requirements are. And this agent that you're seeing right now, it's going to go through every single line of this regulation and extract exactly what I'm asking for, knowing your context and only going through the regulation. So it won't hallucinate at all. And sure enough, it's coming up with the answers exactly as to what we've asked. And it will also tell us a little bit about the risks and how our policies are currently covering these risks, if at all. And it will also reference where it's coming from, so you know that it's not, a black box environment. And the great thing is you can keep pushing this further and ask follow-up questions. They understand the context. So when I say what is the maximum, it knows it's still talking about the surety bond. And again, it should just come up with the answer and tell us where it's coming from in the regulation. So this is a bit of a speed run into how this company has saved a month on just this one regulation. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to ask them now or follow up later. But hopefully that gives you a flavor of what we do. Thank you very much.